Hi, this is Rahim Zulfikar Ali, and today we're gonna talk about name ranges concept in Microsoft Excel, and I will give you some tips and tricks to trace name ranges in your Excel workbook, and how to trace them, how to make them, create them, and how to delete them, even the advantages of creating the name ranges. So let's get started. I have opened a blank Excel workbook, and here I will tell you about some useful tips regarding the name ranges. As you know that the spreadsheet structure is being designed based on columns and rows, and the intersection of columns and rows creates cells. So it is said that in one Excel spreadsheet there are more than 16,384 columns and more than 1 million of rows. And if we want to have more than 1 million of rows, definitely now we know that we have the Power Pivot as well, and DAX is mainly based on names as well. Now if we look at the normal spreadsheet structure, we have the cell, and every cell has a different name, right? And if you have if you are an intermediate user of Excel, so you know that whenever you use functions like sum, VLOOKUP, or any other function or formula in Microsoft Excel, you probably refer to a cell in order to calculate your results, or sometimes you put a dollar sign to it to make sure that it's must be fix or freeze that cell for further calculations. But do you know that in Excel, for instance, in this example on your screen, currently I'm on D4, which is my active cell, right? And below the ribbon on the left side you can see a name box. So whenever I change to another cell as my active cell, the name box shows that particular cell name in the name box, right? So at present I am on E8. Now for example, if I want to change the name of this particular cell, so I will just go to the name box, I will click on the name box, so make sure that it's in editing mode, and I will remove that current name, and let's say if I write my own name, which is Rahim, and I will press enter. So now next time when I come back to E8, so instead of E8 the name box is showing Rahim. Okay, let's say we want to change another cell name, which is C4, and instead of C4, let's say if I want to write my father's name, which is Zulfikar. So whenever I come back to again C4, it shows Zulfikar instead of C4. So now we talk about how to change a cell name into our desired name, but also we can do we can select some group of cells which we call array, and that's the adjacent array. Remember that we have two kinds of an array, adjacent and non-adjacent. So adjacent means we have no gaps, we have a continuation of cells, and in non-adjacent we have we hold the control key and we select few of the cells in a different portion. So let's say if we select a group of cells which is an adjacent array, and I want to give this range as a nice name in this particular Excel workbook. So what I will do, I will just click on this name box and let me type a name, a nice name, example Power BI. Okay, so now this specific range or this specific array is now called Power BI in my current particular workbook in sheet 1. Okay, you can't give a same name again, you can't give a duplicate names. You can either use Rahim_1, Rahim1, something like that, but not the same. Okay, and you can't use space in the name ranges as well. For example, if I want to give cell B1 Rahim Zulfikar, so either I can write Rahim_Zulfikar or without underscore. So if I use a space in giving a name range, so the Excel shows a message to us that you must enter a valid reference you want to go to, or type a valid num for the selection. So it's not possible to have a space in it in the name ranges. Okay, alright, so let's say if I have created, and you can create unlimited number of name ranges in your particular Excel workbook and within all the multiple worksheets. So let's say if we create 2-3 more name ranges, and then I will come to the tips and tricks specific for the name ranges. So let's say if I want to give this range name as Karachi, and then again one random range, and this range will be called as Pakistan. So I have multiple name ranges available in my workbook. Now the question comes in our mind that do we want to remember all these name ranges when we particularly using all those name ranges in our Excel formulas or functions? So the answer is no. You don't have to remember all these name ranges. Now I will tell you some tips and tricks to trace name ranges. So first thing is that on the name box, if you see on the right side, you will see a small arrow. When you click on that small arrow, a drop down menu will open once you have more than one name ranges, and on any specific name, when you click on that, Excel will brings you to that particular array automatically. So when you again open this menu from the name box and click on any of the name range you have created, Excel will bring you to that particular name range automatically, right? And this was one of the way. The second way is that when you go to formulas tab and when you click on name manager, so all the name ranges which you have formed just before, you will see a list of it. And one thing you can learn here, that all the name ranges by default are absolute ranges. They are fixed, they are freeze. Okay, so all these name ranges are absolute in nature. You can anytime revise the name range, or if you don't like the name, you want to edit the name, click on edit button and you can rename or deselect the range. If you want, you can revise it, or if you want to delete any name range, you can press the delete button. Even you can create a new name range by giving a nice name and a new location to it as well. Okay, so the scope of that name range will be either a workbook or a sheet one, as you like. Okay, now this was the second way to trace the name ranges. The third way, which is very interesting way and very few people know about it. So whenever you open an Excel spreadsheet, you know that on the right bottom side of this application you have zoom options. So the minimum zooming option goes to the 10% and maximum goes to 400%, and you have a percentage at very corner right end. So when you click on that percentage, you will have a zoom options window, right? And here in the custom category, if you give a percentage of below 40, either it should be 39 or less than 39. So let's suppose if I set the window zoom percentage to 39 and when I press OK, so my spreadsheet is now on 39%, and you can see that all the name ranges now I can see very easily, right? So this particular area is called Pakistan, this particular area is called Karachi, this is Power BI. So I don't need to remember the name ranges, that where are those. I can very easily find out all of them. So now let's back to the 100%. Okay, and one more way of tracing the name ranges, and you don't need to remember that. There is one shortcut key which is called F3. So when you press F3, paste name window will appear, and all the name ranges presented in your this workbook will appear. So when you click on paste list button, Excel will paste all the name ranges names for you and the locations as well. So you can save this file as a backup file for the name ranges. Might be later on you want to use it in any of the formula or function. Okay, so these are the 4 techniques. The one way is drop down list from the name box, formulas, name manager. Here you can trace, make the zoom percentage to the 39 or less than 39. You can locate very easily from your eyes, or press the F3 key to paste the list name of all the name ranges presented in your Excel workbook. Now what's the advantages of doing it? For example, if I have 2 Excel sheets in this workbook, and on sheet 2 in the cell E4 I want a sum of some numbers presented in sheet 1. So for example, if I add some random numbers here quickly, and what I need to do is, traditionally what we do, equals to sum, then we will go to sheet 1, selecting the range by shortcut keys or a mouse, and then bracket close. So I will get 26 here. So instead of going back to the data source again and again, what you can do is you can select this range and give it a nice name. For example, balances. And later on in any of the worksheet within this workbook, you can call that name. And for example, if you forget that name, don't worry about that. Just press the F3 button, and here you will have a paste name window. So I want to use the balances. Now press OK and bracket close. So this way you can call this name range in any of the function. Now I have used this balances name with the sum. You can use it with the average or minimum or maximum as you like. So this is one of the useful way of giving ranges to a nice name, because you can call it later on to any of the sheet rather than going to the database again and selecting it manually. Okay. One last technique of name ranges is, for example, if I add one more sheet, and let's say if I create a data very quickly. For example, we have serial numbers till 1 till 5 and names from A, B, C, D and E. Okay, and then we have some amounts, so we will use the rand between function. This is, I'm just creating for the sake of creating a fictitious data, just to explain you. Now for example, if I want to give every column a name, so what I can do is I have to select this entire first column, and I have to go to name box, typing a name, then press enter. Then again I have to select the second column. I need to go to name box, give it a name, and then press enter. Now for example, assume that you have a data set and you have 20 columns or 30 columns or even 50 columns. So one by one you have to select every column, and giving it a name takes a lot of time. Now I will tell you the last technique of name range in this video, that within few seconds you can create every column name automatically, and this will be done by Excel itself. So what you can do is select your entire database. Okay, then go to formulas, click on create from selection, and here you need to define the correct option. Now as we know that we need to give every column a name, a different name, and we know that our data first row consists of labels. Every time our data first row consists of titles, right, and labels. So creates name from selection window is asking us that I will give it a nice name to the every column, but tell me that from where I can pick the names. So we are telling this option that pick the names from the top row, and you can see that by default it's already checked. So when I press OK, and when I go to name manager, so you can see that the serial number, the names, and the amount column names have been defined very easily, rather than going to every column, selecting every column and giving it a name. And this take a lot of time, as I told you that if you have 100 of columns in your database, so you need to create again and again. So let me do a demonstration quickly again so that you can understand. I am just deleting all the name ranges from this particular workbook, and what I did is selecting the entire data set, create from selection, check on top row, and remember that in few cases when you have a 2-3 dimensional data, might be you want to have a mix match of top row to left column as well. So it depends on the data, but as we know that we have a very simple data, column based, vertical, so we will pick all the names for the columns from the top row. When I press OK, now you can see that within a second all the column names have been defined by the Excel itself. So that's a super cool feature of creating name ranges of multiple columns within few seconds. So this is all about the name ranges in this video. I hope you like this video. Do share it with your friends. Thank you so much.